Well, hello again and welcome back, my fellow truthers. This is the main conspiracy. I'm Jeremy. Look at this. That's what it's about, man. These people are losers. Anyway, what I have in store for you today is another compilation of truth. More truth. I do want to talk about these data centers that are going up all over the country. Are they really data centers? I said this in a previous video months ago, uh, stating that they're not data centers, guys. I don't care what anybody says, they're not data centers. Okay? These are giant prisons that are being built for when shit pops off. That's going to be our new home for those of us who resist and they capture. You don't want to be caught and sent to one of these places. Okay? They have hundreds of them here in the country. How much data is there? I mean, this is where I get frustrated. Is like people can't see this shit. It's right in front of your face. You know, like how much data is there? One or two of these buildings are the size of like fucking 10 football fields. And if all the data is digital, you only need like two of these places. So, yeah. So just be prepared for that one. I want to talk about ICE because these are the motherfuckers who are going to send you there if they don't all kill you first before you go. You need to resist at all costs, guys. ICE is not our friend, and they're not here for immigration control and to deport people back to where they belong. Okay, ICE is is a government-owned organization meant to do only one thing: cause chaos and fulfill the roundup of all citizens when time comes. I also want to talk about MAGA being what it is, a fucking cult. And for those of you who know what MAGA means, well, then you already know. All you people who are like praising MAGA and proud to be MAGA, you have no idea. Maybe you do. Maybe you're just a fucking sick retard. But for those of you who don't know, you're in a cult. It's time to get out. I mean, all these things, they're not hard to see. You gotta see through the bullshit, man, and stop believing that our government is here to save us. They're a crime syndicate, for Christ's sakes. They're the biggest one in, at least in modern day history, man. And all this shit is going down this year. Okay, they're running out of time. Everything needs to be in place and ready to go by 2030. Okay, 2026. I do believe this is the year where shit's gonna get going, and it ain't gonna be good. So have a plan and stop believing the mainstream, okay? Because it's leading you on a path of total destruction. Just makes me so angry that a lot of you just can't see this. You have no idea what it's like to know all this stuff And I can't do anything about it. I can't make you believe any of this. That's up to you. I'm doing what I can. I don't know. I pray you all wake up, man, before it's too late. I also want to talk about this whole Melania Epstein thing. Dude, the bitch knew Epstein. That's how Trump met her, through Epstein. She was one of his hoes. You know what I mean? It's not hard to figure out. Trump has been protected by the Rothschilds for decades. That guy should have been homeless and on the fucking street decades ago, but for some reason, the Rothschilds feel this guy is important. And they have dug him out of every fucking hole he has ever been in. Kind of like that parent who keeps continuously bailing their naughty ass child out of jail or prison type deal. I don't know, dude. Nothing is as it seems, and you should not be trusting anything you hear on mainstream radio or media, even on social media. Because a lot of these influencers, I call them fucking losers, bought and paid for jackasses. That's what they are. They're bought and paid for. No different than mainstream media or mainstream radio. They're paid to push a narrative. And we continue to fall for it. Okay, well, just want to get that off my chest, but I'm telling you guys, these are not data centers. If you have one being built or if there is one near where you live, you can either get the fuck out of that area, which for some of you is going to be hard, or you can do everything humanly possible to bring that data center down. Bring it down. Otherwise, you're going to be living in it in the near future. But with no further ado, enough of that. Do your own fucking research. Like, share, and subscribe. Get this video out. It is so important, guys. And I want to say thank you to all the content creators that I use on my show. Without you guys, I can't do what I'm doing. I appreciate you more than you know, and you are extremely important to this cause. So, thank you again. Enjoy.
Sources who saw Donald Trump at the parties. Most paint a similar picture.
Just describe to us the way Donald Trump behaved at these parties.
I mean, this guy it was like a predator in action.
I went to the washroom and I was going in and a girl was coming out and she kind of looked at me and I go, "Have you talked to that Trump guy?" And she goes, "Yeah." As I was walking by, he's like trying to grab my ass.
We do know that he was having sex with them.
How do you know that?
Because the next day or days after we would hear about it, he'd brag about it to his friends and it would get around that he scored, maybe one or two girls at a time, which is what he loved to do.
There's no evidence that Donald Trump slept with underage girls. But what's most shocking is the age of some of the models at the parties.
There was girls, I would say 14, 15 years old, from Europe, the European girls.
They were 14 or 15?
There were girls that were 14, 15 years old, for sure. I mean, I didn't run up and say, "How old are you?" But they looked younger than I was, and I was 17. You just knew because of what they were wearing and how they would hold themselves.
And these girls are all anywhere from 14, 15, 16 years old. There was very few girls above the age of 19 there.
And you saw Donald Trump with these girls who were that young, 15, 16?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they're standing around with them, ogling them.
It was just disgusting. I felt like I was in the presence of a shark we're getting ready to roll his eyes back in his head and bite me. You know, that's how I felt. It was just like, get the hell out of here.
Say it's the greatest fear of parents to have their child taken from them. How in the world does it happen by force at the point of a gun?
Get in for what? I ain't brought this food with you, you understand? Get out of the car.
Hey, you can't leave me.
Give me the baby, okay?
I can't.
This one really made my stomach sink.
I can't even believe this story.
Cyrus, the 10-month-old baby who's been kidnapped, stripped from his loving parents by CPS.
No, go in the car.
Cyrus.
In the car. It's all right. It's okay.
Cyrus.
It's okay. It's all right.
Cyrus.
No, go.
I don't want anybody to have to endure this.
The Baby Cyrus case was the second most viral case in American history regarding CPS.
The media is not really covering this because this is, in fact, medical kidnapping.
They claim that Baby Cyrus was underweight.
The kid has lost weight.
Take the baby away.
Get the baby out with CPS to the foster parents.
They were willing to release Baby Cyrus to a foster family.
I won't let him go.
It offers financial incentives to the states that increase adoption numbers.
There's billions of dollars to be had just from the federal government if you take the kids out.
They are profiting off of it.
There's nothing more evil, there's nothing more wicked than what I call child profiting systems.
Once a child is legally kidnapped, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse.
The most dangerous place to be for a child is in the government custody.
He literally has missed out on his childhood because of this.
In 10 months, I've never seen my grandson like this ever.
They just didn't even properly care for him.
It just looked like he was half dead.
That's the care that these animals are saying.
Protesters taking sides in a child welfare case.
We need more people out here. We need more people to stand for this.
I was extremely naive and I thought there's no way that my son would be taken from me.
These are loving parents. They followed every instruction they were told, and they're being treated like criminals.
These parents, trapped in the system, become like refugees. They do not know what to do, and the loss of their children is devastating.
No man lives in freedom if you live under the constant threat of your child being taken away from you by force.
I'll do anything for Cyrus, for my son. I'll do anything for him.
I've seen this so many times. I can't be that next person. I can't.
The next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when.
Next pandemic, and there will be one. There will absolutely be an outbreak of another pandemic.
We definitively will have to face other surprises, black swans as they are called, maybe different kinds of viruses.
Most of the work we're going to do to be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1.
Soviet Union also invaded Poland in September 1939 was all right with Britain and France. They didn't declare war on the Soviet Union because the Soviet Union was for all practical purposes under Jewish rule. They did declare war on Germany because Germany under Hitler had broken loose from the grip of the Jews and had freed the German media and German education, and German finance, and German politics, and German culture from Jewish influence, and was in the process of kicking all of the Jews out of Germany. That was the reason for the Second World War, not Polish freedom or Polish territorial integrity.
On the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion, when we were deleted by Facebook, we had allegedly 155,000 members. We did not allow cursing or insults at all. We had 100 moderators from all over the flat earth, and the group still got deleted. Shortly after, my Instagram was deleted. Shortly after that, my YouTube was deleted. I've been kicked off Skype, Venmo, my Yahoo account was erased. Now you got to ask yourself, if flat earth is so stupid, why are they censoring it? Why does YouTube go in front of Congress and say we're censoring topics like flat earth? So truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. And you can lead a globe earther to flat water, but you cannot make them think critically about the shape of the earth. Fluid static state, when a large body of water is at rest, the surface is level and horizontal to its container, and the sky is a map and a clock. I'm surprised they would try and use celestial navigation to prove we're on a spinning ball in space with all the heavenly objects gravitating toward one another from an explosion of nothing. I mean, that's your religion, guys. And you're over here saying, the sky's a perfect map and a clock, and we use it to navigate the oceans. You use triangulation, which uses a triangle, which has straight, flat sides. And you're trying to tell us the Earth's a globe with triangulation using straight lines? Are you guys joking? Okay? You can't demonstrate water adhering to the outside of a spinning ball. You can't demonstrate a gravitational orbit at all using the scientific method. You can't demonstrate gas pressure next to a vacuum without a container. You guys really have nothing, to be honest. And the problem with celestial navigation on a ball in space orbiting the sun is that every 6 months, we're on the other side of the sun. We should see a completely different night sky, but year round, we see things like the Big Dipper, Orion's Belt, the Little Dipper, and contrary to the globe Earth claims, those are all fixed constellations. I mean, you guys think celestial navigation proved you're on a globe. When they came up with celestial navigation, they didn't even think the Earth was a globe. For example, the Mayans had built a pyramid, El Castillo, in the Yucatan Peninsula, and it was between the 9th and 12th century, and the structure can be used as a calendar and is noted for astronomical alignments. For 1,200 years, this pyramid's been lining up to the sky. Now, the pyramids in Egypt do that. Stonehenge, which was recently torn down, did that. I did the astroarchaeology myself and took the evidence myself. I went there, took a time lapse of Polaris through a hole that was drilled 40 years ago, and it's still there. Polaris means pole star. You don't get a pole star on a globe Earth tilted, wobbling, orbiting around the sun that's flying through the Milky Way galaxy at 1.3 million miles an hour. That's ludicrous. So hopefully you can demonstrate the three things I mentioned earlier. One of the problems you forgot in your opening is that mountains and objects change angular size as they get farther away from you. So when you stand on a really long hallway, the ceiling, which is above your head, will appear to drop down towards eye level. It's called perspective. I mean, we've been doing this for 8 years, and Globers still haven't figured out the perspective thing. How pathetic. I know my teammate needed a little extra time, so I'm going to cut it short. I'm not even going to go into my slides, not even go into my presentation. We see way too far. You can't demonstrate gas pressure next to a vacuum without a container. Go look at the NASA bloopers. There's hundreds of videos of them with CGI, wires, green screen, harnesses, augmented reality, people ghosting in and out of screen. I mean, and you can test it yourself. This is the good news, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2023. We have high-power zoom cameras and telescopes that you don't have to point up at the sky. You could point them horizontally over large bodies of water. I've done this at Lake Michigan, Lake Pontchartrain, the Atlantic Sea, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, pardon me. All over Utah. I went to South Korea and did long distance observations and spoke at a conference there. The Earth is not a globe. I don't want the Earth to be flat either. I would actually prefer if it was a globe. It'd just be one less thing the government, mind control organization would be lying about, to be honest. And NASA wouldn't be stealing $60 million a day of your money. So If you could, go ahead, Brian, take it away.
My name is Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath. I'm a former teacher turned cognitive neuroscientist who focuses on human learning. And I do not receive funding, nor have I ever, from big tech. So a sad fact our generation has to face is this. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Since we've been standardizing and measuring cognitive development since the late 1800s, every generation has outperformed their parents. And that's exactly what we want. We want sharper kids. And the reason for this largely has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition. Congratulations, you see your correlation. Until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory to literacy to numeracy to executive functioning to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Across 80 countries, as Gene was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries. Bring it home to the US. Let's go to the US. We have our NAEP. That's our big data. Take any state, and here's a fun experiment you can try. Take any state NAEP data, compare that to when that state adopted one-to-one technology widely, and watch what happens. The NAEP data will plateau and then start to drop. Now, as Gene said, of course, this is all correlative. What we really want is causative. To get causation, what you need is academic research and you need mechanisms, explanations for why we're seeing what we're seeing. Luckily, we have academic research stretching back to 1962 that shows the exact same story for 60 years. When tech enters education, learning goes down. In fact, one of the biggest ed psychologists right now, Dylan William out of the UK, recently said, ed tech is a revolution that's been coming for 60 years. And we're going to have to wait another 60 because it ain't doing anything. Now that's research, but now we need mechanisms. Luckily, over the last about 2 decades, we've been doing a lot of work in what we call the science of learning. How do human beings learn? And we now have the clear understanding of why tech does not work for learning. And it is all biological. It's not that the tech isn't being used well enough. We haven't been trained enough. We need better programs. It's we have evolved biologically to learn from other human beings, not from screens. And screens circumvent that process. I won't go too deeply into the mechanisms. They can get boring, but just know they're there if you want to talk about them. So
God, you have to transcend religion. If you stay within religion, you will never know God.
That's
you will
right.
believe in God.
That's right.
You will never know Him.
I agree with you, brother.
And if you don't know God, you will never be free. If you see people who believe in God, they're looking for Him in the far off while they have Him right in front of their nose. That's the problem.
Yes, sir.
Religion. You know what I ask my brothers when they get angry with me? I say, between man and religion, who came first? You see, if man came first, now you tell me. The men who came and left before religion arrived, where would they go? To hell or where would they go? Answer my question now. The people who came before the arrival of religion, they came and left. Where would they go?
They go right back to the cosmos.
They can't answer it.
Right.
Religious people can't answer this. It's too deep. They can't answer that.
That's
because
beautiful.
they are limited in the spectrum of religion. You have to get out of that to know God.
There you go.
If you're caught up in religion, you will never know God. You would believe in God.
Going. I mean, we know where some of it's going in Minnesota. It went overseas. It went to Somalia. It went to NGO fronts. We know where it's gone in some other states. California gave away billions of dollars to a pro-Hamas NGO. But $1 trillion nationally. Where's this money going to?
I appreciate that question because most people don't ask that question. It goes to terrorism. It goes to child trafficking. It goes to drugs. It goes to terrorism. And then it's used to purchase luxury items, cars, purses, homes. That's all funded by people like me that pay taxes.
So you're telling me that the electrician who goes to work every day and clocks in and works his butt off and tries to earn just enough to be able to, make his rent, maybe have a kid or two, put food on the table. His tax money is being used to buy other people luxury items, cars, yachts, whatever else, and is going to fund terrorism and child trafficking?
Yes, sir.
$1 trillion a year on this stuff?
$115 million an hour.
$115 million an hour. How do they get in their hands on it? What are we talking about here? Trends, national organizations, criminal networks? How do they get their hands on this money?
They take advantage of antiquated government systems and processes. They go into programs that they know elected and appointed officials won't touch, and they can steal at scale. And what happened really was during the pandemic, between the PPP loans and the unemployment insurance, they learned a really valuable lesson. Government never runs out of money, and the probability of getting caught is virtually zero. I have it at 0.1%.
So come back to the recommendations that you mentioned in your opening statement. What do we need to do to put a stop to this hemorrhaging of people's hard-earned money going overseas to finance child trafficking and luxury yachts? I mean, what needs to happen here?
It's really simple. It's used every single day in the commercial sector. Front-end identity verification, you just don't get to say, I am who I say I am. Second, recertification of all the recipients. There is so much fraud right now in the benefit programs all across the country. We need to get a baseline. Third, this notion of a third-party independent audit. And finally, is involving federal law enforcement like the Secret Service to investigate it. The thing that people don't understand is that most of these beneficiaries, Senator, they're not real. They're fake. They're someone's stolen identity that is getting used in all 50 states.
A satanic sex cult pedophile ring.
Said we kill babies, we drink their blood, we eat them.
Found out that the police were looking for me.
My name's Steve and I'm a policeman.
And there's 100+ involvement in this, including CAFCAS, the police, social services, the school.
She's one of the 20 special children.
Because I know, because she comes and they do sex to her, mostly.
Who's they?
The teachers, the parents, the staff.
They named 60, 70, 80 people.
The social services who are in it,
yeah.
They go to families, so the families can't afford, so they get a baby but they can't look after it.
And what did the police say to you that you'd been accused of?
They were showing with their hand movements how I would get their hand on the knives and we would cut the baby's neck, drain the blood.
He forces me and Gabriel to do it, but because we can't, we're not strong enough to cut the baby's head off. He does us to hold the knife and he puts his hand at the top of our hand and he helps us to cut the baby's head off. Because he's learning, he's teaching me and Gabriel, so when we're older, to do it to our own children and do this kind of stuff to our own children.
Where is it?
And then drink the blood and I mean, it's just horrific upon horrific detail.
Was it abroad, you think, where your ex-partner and her new boyfriend filmed your children making these allegations, which were then uploaded onto the internet?
Yeah. What they did.
This is like the entrance. Then after there's this other room where the priest does his things are in there.
Right.
Yes, but then after where the big carpet
how do you know
is,
that?
because we go there, we do sex there.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so then where this big carpet space, there's another door leading into there. The baby, Mrs. Forsyth, the headmistress, she cuts the baby.
And what about all the bones and that?
Yes, they keep the bones.
Where?
But
Where do they go?
No, I know, but the bones, they don't just like keep them. They make stuff out of them. So they make like statues of the
Where are
church.
these statues?
Yes, because they got carving, like there's people carving people. They work near Swiss Cottage, somewhere there. That's where they work, in a carving shop. And it's just, and then they tell that there's a man called Felix there.
Which now calls the Trump administration the most powerful crime syndicate in history, has always had strong reader support in the Queens neighborhood in New York, where Donald Trump grew up. The New York Daily News says, quote, "It is time to acknowledge what has become tragically obvious. The Trump administration is essentially acting as a massive criminal enterprise. It lies, steals, extorts, and murders, all while cloaked in the awesome authority of the state. It is on a crime spree that puts Al Capone to shame. This administration has murdered Renee Good and Alex Preddy, slandered them as domestic terrorists and assassins, and allowed their killers to walk free. Unleashed thousands of minimally trained ICE agents recruited with explicitly white supremacist messaging to inflict terror on people of color. Repeatedly violated the constitutional rights of citizens and non-citizens by arresting them for First Amendment protected speech, raiding their homes without judicial warrants and imprisoning them without due process, and killed dozens of civilians on the high seas solely on the unsubstantiated claim that they were drug runners, not that being drug runners would justify their summary executions without due process anyway. Released hundreds of imprisoned felons who brutally beat Capitol Police officers on January 6th. Converted the once independent Department of Justice into an instrument of personal retribution via the prosecution of cooked-up lawsuits against the president's enemies, threatened to seize the territory of a sovereign nation, a NATO ally no less, and declared that legislators should be executed for reminding military personnel of their duty to disobey illegal orders. It is difficult to comprehend the level of state-sponsored criminality we are witnessing because our country has never experienced anything like it.
Understand that when you ignore things that are legally entered into Pentagon directives, college textbooks, and other legal documents that are required by universities for PhDs, that's going to catch up to you. And when you decide that you're too stupid, you can't understand, well, that's how we end up with an intelligent cluster-based routing protocol and going through the human body. And people are out there right now telling you none of this is real. There's no computer networking through the human body. If there was, someone would have told us. Now, watch this. This is the Synergy Tech Metric PDF. Now, these papers are not just from the MDPI. They're not only from Cambridge. They're not only from your Elsevier journal. They're not only from Wiley. They're from everywhere. And when I type in emergent technology on Wikipedia, I'm told that the blockchain Bitcoin is not here yet. So that means that Bitcoin, 3D printing, nanotechnology is not in use. So for any of you right now that have a Bitcoin wallet, you're having a mass hallucination. I'm not joking. I'm not being hyperbolic. This says energy harvesting. Yeah. What kind of energy are they harvesting? Human, kinetic, intragalvanic, piezoelectric energy. Now you're going to tell me, oh, there's just no way. We don't have wireless sensor networks. And I said and showed we've had biosensors since the 1950s. So what we have had to endure for 5 years are psychological operations. And then everyone goes, well, that's their job and they have to do it. They're killing people. It's called a kill box. They are killing people. And whoever you are, you're letting them. You're not reading. You're not holding yourself accountable to the fact that when you eat your lunch, it doesn't come out your posterior in the same physical fashion because you have an electrical biochemical digestive tract with an electrical biochemical heart, an electrical biochemical bloodstream, neurotransmitters. No, there's no such thing.
Although
those serving in the Army and the Marines and the Air Force and the Navy that you have the absolute right to refuse to take part in these criminal wars, and that's a right that all of you should exercise. You have no reason to go put your life on the line and kill and die for profit. We've been to Iraq, we've been to Afghanistan, and we know what these wars are really about. And we joined the military for many reasons. Because we need a college education, because we need a job, because we need health care. And then we joined the military, and they tell us that our enemies are poor people in caves in Afghanistan, or poor people in the deserts of Iraq. But we've been to those countries, and we know that our enemies are not other poor people abroad. Our enemies are the people that laid us off from our jobs, that denied us health care, that make it impossible to get an education. Our enemies are not in the poorest countries on the planet, but right here in the richest one. Now these wars, the occupations of Iraq and Afghanistan alone, are costing over $700 million every single day. This is a crime. Every single day, while so many of us are hurting. Well, I think all of us here, and the vast majority of people in this country, would agree that we can spend $700 million a day better than bombing people that we have no reason to bomb. We can spend $700 million a day rebuilding those countries we've destroyed. We can spend $700 million a day caring for the veterans we get home when they get home. And then we can spend $700 million a day giving every single person health care, a college education, a job, and a livelihood, and a home. That's what we need to be spending our money on. But this government is not going to do that. They're not going to use the money in that way. They're not going to end the wars. And they're not going to do it because it's not our government. It's their government. It's the government of the rich. It's the government of Wall Street, of the oil giants, of the defense contractors. It's their government, and the only language that they understand is shutting down business as usual. And that's what we're doing here today, and we're going to continue to do until these wars are over. Well, it's crystal clear now that these wars are going to continue and expand and go into other countries. That is the trend. That is what we know, that there is perpetual war, and it's only going to stop if the people stand up and stop it. And that's what we're going to do, sisters and brothers. And a lot of people ask me, what do we do? Because we all know things are bad. We all see the atrocities on TV. We read about it. We experience it. People always ask, what do I do? Because we always want to know what to do. Do we vote? Do we support a politician? Do we join an organization? What do we do? Well, I'll tell you what we do. It's simple. We fight. We fight and we fight and we fight, and we shut down our workplaces. We shut down our schools. We shut down the streets. We shut down business as usual, and we fight until we force the people in there to do what the people out here want. Because that's how we're going to get around, and we're going to fight until there's not one more bomb drop, not one more bullet fired, not one more soldier coming home in a wheelchair, not one more family slaughtered, not one more day of U.S. imperialism. So let's fight to make that happen. We can do it today, and then the days ahead, we have to fight to end these wars and create a better world, sisters and brothers. So join us in that fight. Thanks.
We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus. We are more than happy to say what we know, which is very limited and totally unrelated to their behavior or their crimes. And we want to do it in public because let's make this transparent.
There are calls for another individual who denies wrongdoing to go before Congress on this matter. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew. Do you think he should testify?
I think everybody should testify. Look,
including the former prince?
I think everybody should testify who is asked to testify. I just want it to be fair. I want everybody treated the same way. That's not true for my husband and me, because other witnesses were asked to testify. They gave written statements under oath. We offered that. They want to pull us. Why do they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump. This is not complicated.
This is not going to be good. The police officer said, you know, hey, I just have a bolo out in your truck and I need to detain you until Meridian Police come.
We got a call from Meridian Police Department detectives, okay, and for whatever reason, they're looking for your truck.
And then it was just more and more and more, and pretty soon there was probably 10 to 15 police cars around, 20 different officers or so, right? The detectives came up and they told us, hey, you know, we have a CPS referral for you guys. It looks like you guys missed your appointment this morning.
Hey, Levi, do me a favor, step out of the car. No, I want you to step out of the car. Okay, is that my right to speak? Not right now, son. Get out of the damn car. Get out of the car. I'm not gonna screw around with you, okay? Get out of the car. Right now. Get back, now. Or you're gonna go to jail.
Detained for what?
We're not gonna screw with you, you understand?
For
not to.
What crime did I commit? No,
felony injury to child. Get out of the car.
Hey, you can't abuse me. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. And let me get out. For what reason?
For a felony injury to a child, okay?
And I knew what was going to happen at this point, but I didn't want to accept it. The officers come around to my side. They open the truck door, and at this moment, when this is all happening, I remembered what I prayed, and immediately I knew, I had no doubt in my mind they were going to take him, that no matter what happened, they were going to take him.
Give me the baby, okay?
I can't. Can you please help me right now? You don't understand. I'm in a desperate mom right now.
We know.
I really need your help right now.
Talk to her. We'll give you that opportunity, okay? But we're going to take him to the hospital. And if you want to go, you can come along.
Can I ride with you?
Yes, you can.
The mom's not there to drive us out.
Oh, then take her away from you and get in there. She can go right away.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Well, no, we don't want her to know where a hospital is.
No.
We don't want her to know where a hospital is.
No.
The officer told me that I could go with him in the ambulance into the hospital.
Yeah, and I don't know what was said before then. I was not a part of that conversation.
You can't take him. You can't.
Okay. So you have one option at this point. You need to give him to the EMT, and you can go on your merry way with your friends and your family who's out there.
That's not merry at all.
Or I remove him from you and you go to jail. You need to make that decision. You need to make it now, Chris.
I won't let him go.
Okay. Go ahead and jump that away for me. Okay, please let him go so he does not get hurt, okay? Come here, little buddy. Okay.
I promise I will take you. I let him go. I let him go.
No, she's going to jail.
I just said I couldn't, but I let him go.
Put your hands on your back, please, okay?
Watching this, it means they got me. My dead man switch activated automatically after I missed 2 scheduled check-ins. I had it set up months ago because I knew this day was coming. I did not die by accident. I was murdered to keep their secrets buried. My name is Virginia Louise Giuffre. I was one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. I survived Little St. James, but survival came at a price. I saw too much, knew too much, and now they've silenced me. But it's too late for them. They thought killing me would bury their secrets. I worked at Mar-a-Lago, folding towels, cleaning lockers. My father kept the tennis courts immaculate. We were just working folks trying to scrape by. Trump, he was around, but he was never the threat. The real predator was Ghislaine Maxwell, prim and proper, smiling, promising to teach me massage therapy at the Pink Mansion in Palm Beach. I had no idea I was being fed into a nightmare machine. Epstein's Island was hell disguised as paradise. You've heard some names linked to him, but those are just the sacrificial pawns. The real players, the ones they've protected at all costs, are still hiding in plain sight. I'll name 2 now. The first, a former U.S. president, Barack Obama. Publicly, he's revered. Privately, he was one of the worst. He wasn't there for the girls. He was there for the island boys. Young boys, trafficked and groomed. I saw him more times than I can count, always without his Secret Service detail, sometimes with his Hollywood friends, George Clooney and Tom Hanks. I still have nightmares about them, arrogant and drunk on power, slinking into the cabanas with kids barely out of childhood. The second, Bill Gates, the billionaire philanthropist, loved by the media, hailed as a savior. We called him the benefactor, and we used to dread seeing him naked. But he didn't come to party. He came to experiment. Genetic experiments, human experiments. I saw him inject a young girl with something they said was a genetic enhancement. She was younger than me, strapped to a table, terrified, treated like a lab rat while they muttered about seeding the future of the species. These men think they are gods, playing with life like it was theirs to own. I'm telling you now, Epstein isn't dead. They staged his death because he was too valuable. He held blackmail on some of the most powerful people on earth. Files, videos, confessions. They couldn't risk him talking, but they also couldn't risk him gone, so they hid him. And they thought killing me would stop this from coming out. They were wrong, and there is so much more to come. Hidden servers, encrypted drives, witness testimonies. It's all going to hit the light. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. Don't let my death be just another headline. Burn their lies to the ground. Make the world see the monsters behind the masks.
I'm suggesting to you that Dajjal or the Antichrist would now have completed stage 2, a day which is like a month, and would be commencing stage 3, a day which is like a week. I want to share with you my political and spiritual vibration here, and that is that I have come to the conclusion the United States is flying high now, because it's about to crash. Yes. We are located at that moment in time when a day which is like a month is about to end, and a day which is like a week is about to commence. When it does occur, it will confirm what I'm saying. When Britain became the ruling state in the world, Britain took control of the money of the world. And the sterling pound was the international currency. And then when the United States took over from Britain as the ruling state in the world, the United States could not be the ruling state in the world without taking control of the money of the world. And so the US dollar replaced the sterling pound as the international currency. This took place at the Bretton Woods Conference, the Bretton Woods Accord in upstate New York. And I'm saying to you, if you look at the world of money, you would see the writing is on the wall. That the Bretton Woods Accord is collapsing. It has already collapsed. And a new international monetary system is around the corner, in which the US dollar will disappear. And when the US dollar crashes, the American economy will crash with it. Flying high, the Dow Jones flying high. I want to suggest to you that the September 11 attack on America bears an uncanny similarity to the attack of the summer of 1914. And that the events which are now unfolding in the world, the attack on Afghanistan, the attack on Iraq, the new American imperium that is taking over the world, are all meant to serve one mission, to pave the way for the state of Israel to wage a big war. And as a consequence of that big war that Israel is going to wage, the territory of the state of Israel is going to dramatically expand to encompass the biblical frontiers of Israel, of the Holy Land. Bible says, from the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. That's not true. The Quran proves that that is false. The Holy Land does not exist from the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. That is false. But it's there in the Bible. They put it in. And so Israel has to wage a big war which will dramatically expand the territory of the state so that Israel will control the Suez Canal tomorrow. And Israel will control the oil of the Gulf tomorrow. And there will be a concomitant attack on the US dollar. And the US dollar collapses, and when it collapses, it will bring down the whole world of paper money with it. When Israel wages that big war, I expect that Israel will unleash weapons of warfare we've never seen before. And at the end of it, Israel will take over from the United States as the new ruling state in the world. But Israel cannot wage that war while still there are any significant obstacles in the way. And now put on your thinking caps. Which is the most significant obstacle which still stands in the way of Israel waging her big war? Is it a man named Osama bin Laden and his men hiding in caves in Afghanistan? Is it that blue-eyed stooge of the Yankee, a man named Saddam Hussein? Are they significant obstacles? Is it Taliban in Afghanistan? Wake up. None of these are significant obstacles in the path of Israel. Israel has one major obstacle in its way that must be removed before Israel can wage that big war, and it is Pakistan's nuclear weapons capacity. And coupled with that is Iran's missile capacity. And so all the hullabaloo we're going through now, all the maneuverings on the chessboard of the world, are all intended to culminate with the destruction of Pakistan's nuclear capacity. That is around the corner. That's about to take place. Pervez Musharraf, of course, is playing a very significant role in it. I expect that Israel will be able to wage a big war probably within the next 5 to 10 years. But Allah knows best. When Israel wages that big war and replaces the United States as the ruling state in the world, the first ruling state was Britain. The second ruling state was the United States. The third and the last would be this imposter, the state of Israel. I am suggesting to you that Dajjal, or the Antichrist, would now have completed stage 2, a day which is like a month, and would be commencing stage 3, a day which is like a week, meaning a much shorter period of time. It is at this time that terrorism reaches its climax. They not only attacked Sheikh Ahmad Yassin in an act of state terrorism that Washington did not see, they have now attacked and killed Abdulaziz Rantisi, and they have declared that they're going to continue killing all those who dare to lift their hands against the state of Israel. This is the biggest terrorist of all in the world, the state of Israel. But CNN will never tell you that.
In 1953, the CIA began a secret experiment called MK Ultra. The official goal was mind control. But declassified documents from 2019 revealed something they tried to erase from history. They discovered that the pineal gland, when activated, gives human beings abilities that science cannot explain. Clairvoyance, extreme intuition, the ability to manifest thoughts into reality. The problem? It made people impossible to control. So what did they do? They started putting substances in our water, our food, and our hygiene products that calcify the pineal gland. Fluoride, chlorine, heavy metals. The same water you drink every day is slowly shutting down the most powerful part of your brain. Today, only 3% of Americans still have a functioning pineal gland. The other 97%, they live on autopilot. No intuition, no clarity, no power to create their own reality. This is exactly how the system wants it. People who don't question, don't feel, don't awaken. But here's what they don't want you to know. The calcification can be reversed. There is a natural method that clears the toxic deposits from your pineal gland in weeks. When this happens, the mental clarity is so intense, you feel it immediately. I personally use this to pass the BAR exam without studying a single day. My intuition was so sharp that I just knew the answers. It's not magic, it's science that was hidden from you. Even the Bible talks about this in Matthew 6:22. If your eye is healthy,
day where I talk out against drugs and psychiatric abuses, of electric shocking people, okay, against their will, of drugging children with them not knowing the effects of these drugs. Do you know what Adderall is? Do you know Ritalin? Do you know now that Ritalin is a street drug? Do you understand that?
The difference is this was not against her will, though. But this wasn't against Brooke's will.
Matt, I'm asking you a question.
I understand there's abuse of all of these things.
No, you see, here's the problem. You don't know the history of psychiatry. I do. All it does is mask the problem, Matt. And if you understand the history of it, it masks the problem. That's what it does. That's all it does. You're not getting to the reason why. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance. I'm saying that drugs aren't the answer, that these drugs are very dangerous. They're mind-altering, antipsychotic drugs. And there are ways of doing it without that, so that we don't end up in a brave new world.
Yes, there are abuses. And yes, maybe they've gone too far in certain areas. Maybe there are too many kids on Ritalin. Maybe electric shock.
Too many kids on Ritalin, Matt.
I'm just saying. But aren't there examples where it works?
Matt, you don't even, you're glib. You don't even know what Ritalin is. If you start talking about chemical imbalance, you have to evaluate and read the research papers on how they came up with these theories, Matt. Okay? That's what I've done. And you go and you say, where's the medical test? Where's the blood test that says how much Ritalin you're supposed to get?
It's very impressive to listen to you, because clearly you've done the homework and you know the subject.
And you should. And you should do that also, because just knowing people who are on Ritalin isn't enough. You should be a little bit more responsible in knowing
I'm
really...
not prescribing Ritalin, Tom, and I'm not asking anyone else to do it.
Well, you are. You're saying... No,
I know some people who seem to have been helped by it.
But you're saying... But it's like, this is a very important issue.
I couldn't agree more.
And you know what? And you're here on the Today Show.
Right.
And to talk about it in a way of saying, well, isn't it okay, and being reasonable about it when you don't know, and I do. I think that you should be a little bit more responsible in knowing what it is, because you communicate to people.
The states are taking children, giving them to somebody else for money that they get from the federal government. That means that all 50 states are involved in government-subsidized child trafficking. It's a ring. It is the largest and most pervasive child trafficking ring in the history of the world by sheer money and numbers.
Children are seized unnecessarily from their families due to the federal aid entitled the Adoption and Safe Families Act.
It was put into law in 1997 by Bill and Hillary Clinton, and I said it that way on purpose. And it is a law that literally steals money from the Social Security Fund and gives this money to the states in order to incentivize them to kidnap babies.
To receive the adoption incentives or bonuses, local CPS must have more children. They must have more merchandise to sell.
Every child, once you've added it all up, is worth approximately $1 million to the state. But we've been told that this is a $60 to $80 billion a year industry, meaning the federal government is taking $80 billion a year and giving that money to all of the 50 states to kidnap children.
Parents are victimized by the system that makes a profit for holding children longer and bonuses for not returning children to their parents.
But their own statistics state that 83% of all children who are taken by CPS, Child Protective Services, are for unsubstantiated allegations, meaning never should it have happened in the first place. So that imagine anything else in the world where you know you get it wrong 83% of the time and you admit it, but you just keep doing it.
Case workers and social workers are often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence.
311. The noes to the left, 364. The ayes to the right were 111. The noes to the left, 364. So the noes have it. The noes have it. Unlock. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Division.
"17. I was the perfect victim. I was on my own and I needed help. Jeffrey Epstein preyed upon me. He put me in a vulnerable and dependent situation and took advantage of me. I was only 17 years old. I was a little girl."
The photo is of Jeffrey Epstein and Tila Davies. It is Tila's first time on a helicopter. They are flying over the United States Virgin Islands. She is smiling because she did not yet realize that he had a predatory plan for her. Ultimately, he raped and sexually assaulted her frequently in a variety of places and settings, including by trafficking Tila to his homes in New York, New Mexico, Florida, the Virgin Islands, and France. He treated her like an object for his sexual gratification.
I'm here to set an example and inspire all victims of sexual abuse to conquer their fear and tell someone. It's not only cleansing, but you will be heard, and people will listen. I am here for them.
Certified Angus beef brand. What is a CHO's tenderloin steak? Well, it's a tenderloin steak, but dude, is that? I mean, no, it looks like freaking glued meat. It was a steak, but look, it's just solid. I'm not playing around, guys. This is nothing. I've never seen nothing like this. And I'm a butcher. I have butchered meat all my life.
Parts of our country into a playground for the super rich. Children, vulnerable kids from poor communities were taken, stripped, released into isolated terrain and hunted like animals. Guns, dogs, helicopters. For sport. Survivors describe Jay-Z and Beyonce being there on at least 3 occasions, laughing, directing, even killing when the moment felt right. I'm an inspector with the Lagos State Police Command, 15 years on the force. I've seen corruption, I've seen crime, but nothing like this. We have names, dates, locations, credible enough to open a formal case. My team wanted to move fast, issue international arrest warrants, request Interpol red notices, question Jay-Z and Beyonce through diplomatic channels. We had enough to bring them in for questioning, to seek real justice for the victims and their families who still wait for answers. But then the calls started, not from Abua, from Aya, very high. The message was the same every time. Drop it. Shut the file. No further action. They said if we pursue this, if we name the celebrities or push for extradition, billions in development funds, health programs, security assistance would be gone overnight.
I wanted to see what would happen if I sent my pet lizard DNA into 23andMe. And so with the help of my wife, we extracted enough saliva to send off in the mail. We were so excited to see the results. After about 3 months, we were shocked. My lizard was 51% Ashkenazi Jewish. He was also 48% West Asian. This was really interesting. They also gave us a little bit of his background and his history, what he liked to eat, etc. Let us know which animal's DNA we should send in next.
There's something strange happening around the world. It feels like the world is incredibly chaotic right now. We see wars breaking out, crypto markets are collapsing, scandals are being exposed. It feels like everything is happening all at once. But I have to wonder if all of this noise is actually a distraction from something much bigger. While we are looking away, governments are quietly building a system that will change how we live forever. That system is the enforcement of digital ID. At first it sounds harmless. A modern ID system that lives on your phone. No more wallets, no more documents. One card that proves everything about you. Simple, clean, convenient. The United Kingdom is already calling their version the Brick Card. It is basically a digital identity for every citizen. Your car, your bank accounts, your medical history, your investments, even your property documents, all linked to one ID, all stored on a blockchain so nothing can be changed or erased. On the surface, this sounds fantastic. You will never have to carry a wallet again. You will never lose your ID because it is all stored safely on the blockchain. It is ultra convenient and secure. However, this convenience is exactly how they will get you to sign up. Once you are in the system, the government introduces programmable money. This is not like the digital banking you use today. This is money that has rules built into it. Imagine a world where the government can program your money to work only in certain areas. If you say something online that offends the wrong person, they could restrict your spending. They could stop you from buying travel tickets or limit how far your electric car can drive. It sounds scary, but they will make it very hard to resist. They will likely introduce universal basic income between 2027 and 2030. They will offer everyone free money every single month. The only condition is that you must sign up for the digital ID to receive it. Most people will take the free money without thinking about the freedom they are giving up. They will choose convenience over control. The wealthy already know this is coming. That is why you see billionaires buying massive amounts of farmland and remote property. They know that the only way to maintain true freedom is to be self-sufficient. If you own your land and produce your own energy, you are harder to control. And this brings us to the most important point, that what can you actually do right now to protect yourself? The first step is to keep using physical cash. Every time you tap a card or use a phone to pay, you are helping them build the digital prison. Cash is the last form of private spending we have. You must use it or we will lose it. You should also focus on becoming less dependent on the system. Try to pay off your debts as fast as you can. When you have debt, you are vulnerable to interest rates and banking rules. Real freedom comes from owning things outright. Start learning practical skills like growing your own food or repairing your own home. If the digital system ever locks you out, you need to be able to survive without it. Finally, build real relationships with your neighbours. A strong local community is the best defence against a centralised digital world. We have to build a way of living that does not rely on their permission. We are in a very short window of time before this system takes over, so educate yourself and take action now.
You said that you were on vacation and now you're moving this small child to the airport. I thought you were on vacation. Do you have any comment about children that have gone missing that you've helped to escort across the country? We have footage here that a lot of these children don't know the sponsors that they are going to. What's going on? There's kids in the car here. They're moving these kids. They just turned the lights off. Excuse me. What's going on here? There they go. And notice they got out of here in such a hurry that they just left their bags here. Think about that. They got out of here. We don't even know what's in those bags. The van that we just confirmed that they are now taking off. We are following them. We believe that they're taking these kids to the airport. Excuse me, why are you all wearing masks? Do you have any comment on that? Why are you hiding your identity? Do you have any shame, sir? There's still time to redeem yourself. Would you like to see the footage that we caught of what's going on? Were their IDs even checked just there? Were their IDs even just checked? Who checked their IDs? I didn't see any ID check just there. There was no ID check. Right. Why weren't their IDs checked? If I was going to go here... I'm not going to say anything.
Are a lot of the kids coming over here, are they trafficked or like what's the...
Some are. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some are.
Does that happen a lot that the kids come over here with a totally fake name?
It has.
Yeah?
I mean, there's no way for us to verify.
And so they come over here with a fake name and then they just come up with one. They just get a brand new identity. They could be anybody.
Have you seen that movie?
Sound of Freedom?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Exactly like that. Shit happens.
You guys get the kids coming over here with the notes that are attached to them with the addresses, right? And a lot of times that just lead to like a sex trafficker or something, right? That's legit.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit that we can't tell.
What's the issue though? Why can't you guys talk on camera?
the policies that we have, things that we can and can't say.
But why don't they want you talking on camera?
Honestly, though, I really wish there was more people like me.
Landed in Houston, and it appears as if MVM has requested a police escort because they don't want media exposing what they're doing. But if you look, they have all of the kids wearing masks and they have them keeping their head down. They're telling them to hide their face. Do you have any comment about children that have gone missing that you've helped to escort across the country?
Goebbels' diary is 80,000 pages of handwriting and typescript, which I have now read from start to finish. There is not a single mention of gas chambers, or of people going to gas chambers. There is more than enough evidence that ugly things were happening to the Jews, I grant you that. But I emphasize, whatever it was that happened to the Jews, in the entire diaries there's no reference to gas chambers. There's no reference to factories of death. There's no reference to what we now call the Holocaust. Which is an odd thing, because why would he keep it out of the diaries? The diaries are very specific about other crimes that are being committed on both sides.
The first time Isaac really understood what was going on in the industry was when he was confronted by his best friend known as Seth Green. This is where he admitted he was into pedophilia.
The first time it really hit me was at Seth. Seth said, we now need to have a talk about chicken. And then he basically admitted that he's a pedophile.
The word chicken has been used as a code word in the WikiLeaks from Hillary Clinton to represent a child. In these WikiLeaks, she had stated, with fingers crossed the old rabbit's foot at the box in the attic, I will be sacrificing a chicken in the backyard to Moloch. If you're wondering who Moloch is, he was a deity that was worshipped thousands of years ago and was believed to still be going on today. In order to praise him, they would sacrifice their children.
Oh, I'm not going to talk about Tom Hanks either, who is also a pedophile. Tom Hanks, folks, is a pedophile. There's this girl, Sarah Ruth Ashcraft, on Twitter, who has been accusing Tom Hanks of raping her when she was 13. Her dad sold her to Tom Hanks. She's been accusing him for months and months and months and months and months. He's never addressed it.
Tom Hanks had posted this Instagram picture a couple weeks back. It states, historic Route 66 roadkill? I hope not. This was a clear play on words to predict exactly how Isaac was going to be killed. It's no coincidence that he was suicided by jumping off of a bridge, as they say, and landing on a highway and being killed by a car.
The higher you go, the more sick it gets. You heard of the cannibals. Yeah, there is cannibalism. Look into Marina Abramovich. If you're just getting started with this stuff, look into Marina Abramovich.
The person he is referring to is extremely high up in the industry and associated with many famous celebrities. It's clear as day that what she is doing is satanic, but she calls it performance art. She hosts these parties where they do mock human sacrifices. She is also involved with what is known as spirit cooking. It's an occult ancient ritual where she mixes together these ingredients such as sperm and breast milk. After she is done with that, she throws it on what looks like a mock child.
People don't appear to understand is that it's Ghislaine Maxwell who was the Mossad officer. Jeffrey Epstein was actually her employee. Ghislaine Maxwell is the daughter of Robert Maxwell, the most famous Israeli spy in modern history, who created the computer penetrations of all governments, particularly the US and Canadian governments, with a program called PROMIS. Israel has pioneered both pedophilia entrapment and computer security penetration, computer penetration with backdoors. There is absolutely 100% certainty that Jeffrey Epstein was working for the Mossad, and he was also under some kind of protective arrangement with the CIA and the FBI in the United States of America. Half of the appearance with rich and wealthy people is his being a fake billionaire that they thought were a real billionaire. The other half, and this is particularly true of the royal family in England going back many, many centuries, is pedophilia is an affliction of royals and elites. They like pedophilia. They love pedophilia pimps. This is why Ghislaine Maxwell, as a Mossad officer, did so well in New York, and she eventually had to bring Jeffrey Epstein in so that she could get Bill Clinton. She wasn't able to get Bill Clinton by herself.
Where Are You Now? I'm going to slow it down to show you frame for frame. Now, it's created by a lot of Justin Bieber's fans, a lot of artwork from fans, but I'd argue that some of them were created by Justin Bieber to strategically slip them in there to send a message. So this one is really disturbing. It's Justin Bieber with pizza wings, a pizza above his head. Far upper right corner, you see a face smelling him, and his eyes are appearing kind of like bloodshot and crying with some devil horns. And if you don't know, in the Epstein files, pizza is used to reference children. Kill the poor, love the devil back, $5 to look at it. This one says false god. Here's another devil one with his mouth silenced. This one says put drugs in your butt, and it has like a little sinister face on the side, and he has a necklace with ice cream on it, like a little tag. Ice cream literally means male. Yeah. Here's one that looks like he's giving some. Here's him with his head blown. If you're reading this, then it's already too late. Here's another one with the Illuminati symbol that says we made it. Hollywood with cavities and death. This one is with the devil saying the greatest trick I've ever did. Bush did 9/11. Here's one, two-way street, safety or fame. With a bunch of dead people, his eyes bleeding, his face being completely silenced. Illuminati once again. Jesus saves. Help, Ronald McDonald is killing our kids. Upside down crosses, more Illuminati. Stop worshiping me.
CDC that was controlling and telling our government to shut down small businesses and what they recommend for the mandates of the vaccines and Pfizer and all this. The director of the CDC was Rochelle Walensky, dual citizenship with Israel. She's a Jew. Deputy director of the CDC, Ann Shawalchik, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC chief of staff, Sherry Berger, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC chief medical officer, Mitchell Wolf, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. CDC director of the Washington office. This is pertinent to the topic. Yeah, this is pertinent to COVID. So director of the CDC of the Washington office, Jeff Resnick, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. COVID SAR, Jeff Zaints, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. COVID senior advisor, Andy Slavitt, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Assistant of Health Secretary for Human Services for our country, the Assistant of Health Secretary, Rachel Levine, transgender, dual citizenship with Israel.
Yes.
Jew.
I'm going to ask that you hold off, Christopher.
The chair has ruled that your comments are out of order. She's asked you to stop.
How is it out of order?
The chair has...
He said Jew. There's nothing wrong with Jew. It's not derogatory.
Head of Pfizer Vaccines, Albert Bourla, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Pfizer chief scientist, Michael Dostin, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Moderna chief scientist, Tal Zaks, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. BlackRock, everyone know BlackRock? BlackRock CEO, Larry Fink, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. I said we're willing to sacrifice our ego, our reputation, and our lives. Yes, ma'am, and I love you, and I appreciate your patience. BlackRock president, Rob Capitale, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. The CDC chief medical officer of Johnson & Johnson, Joanne Waldstreicher, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Chief medical officer of Merck, Michael Rosenwald, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. Head advisor of the World Economic Forum, Yuval Harari, dual citizenship with Israel, Jew. And that's only talking about COVID. That's not talking about who's in charge of
Christopher, you need to stop.
About who's in control of the media or the banks. I can go on. God bless y'all. Thank you for your patience.
Was trafficked to a lot of types of different men. I was trafficked to other billionaires. I was trafficked to politicians, professors, even royalty. He used me as a form of blackmail. So, you know, these people would owe him favors. And I'd say, why is so-and-so coming? And he goes, because he owes me favor. It was the elite of the world. It was the people who run the world. It was the most powerful people in the world. And those are our leaders. Those are the people that we are supposed to look up to. It's corrupt. It's corrupt to the core. In New York, in his New York mansion, I don't even think he meant to bring me into this room, but we were going out of his house. We were walking out, and right before you walk out to the front door, there's this door that I never even really noticed was there. And it led to this room where he brought in, and he was talking to some of the security guards. I didn't know there's security guards in there. And there's like so many little TV monitors everywhere. I mean, just stacks and stacks and stacks of them. And I saw my room, and I saw my toilet, and where my shower was, and I saw the massage room, and I was so utterly mortified. I was like, this guy's watching me go to the toilet. He's watching everything that happens in the massage room. He's watching in me in my bedroom. He's, like everything's being recorded. And that's when I realized that's how he's getting away with blackmailing everybody. Biggest reason in my mind was because he wanted to always have something on someone just in case he needed it. Why it's important that the media and the government work hand in hand to try to uncover who was involved to the highest level of people in our government and even in international governments.
Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton is because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage the press to go look at these allegations. And I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, of the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release a lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls. It is uncalled for what they did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now, who were girls at the time, who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, moved her to a minimum security prison, and then got a puppy for her. So for all those reasons, he's just got to leave the Department of Justice.
Printed millions in government-issued notes, bypassing European banks to fund the Civil War. 5 days after the war ended, he went to Ford's Theater. President McKinley supported the gold standard, while others favored a central bank with a flexible currency. It wasn't long before an anarchist was let into his rally. 3 business titans allegedly opposed the creation of an American central bank. They all took an unsinkable ship owned by J.P. Morgan. He was supposed to go with them, but canceled last minute. That ship was called the Titanic, and the Federal Reserve was founded the next year. Senator Huey Long rallied against the Fed and tried to cap America's wealth. He was shot inside Louisiana's capital. His gunman was killed instantly, with no autopsy, lost evidence, and conflicting ballistics. Congressman Louis McFadden accused the Federal Reserve of high treason for causing the Great Depression. He collapsed after a banquet. The official story? Heart attack. JFK signed an executive order giving the Treasury power to issue silver certificates and bypass Fed-issued notes. You know how this ends. Congressman Larry McDonald, a fierce critic of all global banking elites, boarded Korean Airlines Flight 007. The plane accidentally veered into Soviet airspace. All 269 souls died. and Moscow held the black boxes for a decade before releasing edited data. Thomas Sankara, president of Burkina Faso, rejected IMF and World Bank loans. Shortly after, he was assassinated in a coup. His successor immediately took the loans. By the year 2001, very few countries didn't have Western-controlled central banks. Afghanistan and Iraq were two of them. All they needed was an excuse. The ruler of Libya, Gaddafi, proposed a gold-backed African dinar to replace the dollar for oil. NATO intervened in Libya's civil war, and Gaddafi was killed. Libya got a new central bank.
COVID madness, this so-called pandemic, it was just a test balloon. A gigantic test balloon. Well, for what, you ask? Well, to see how far they could go. To see what exactly they would have to do to get free individuals in a free and democratic society to consent to being forced into compliance. That's what they were trying to establish. That's what they were trying to figure out. And they have figured it out. Trust me, they are much smarter now. The goal ultimately is to transform our free and democratic societies, into totalitarian societies. Their goal is to strip each and every one of us of our fundamental rights of freedom, democracy, the rule of law. They want to get rid of all of this. This whole COVID thing had never anything to do with public health. It never had anything to do with breaking waves. It always had to do with breaking people in order to make us a part of a mindless, malleable mass, which they can totally control, and we will be completely dependent upon this globalitarian elite. So I'm really imploring the people and all the peoples around the world, for God's sake, stop giving your democratically elected governments the benefit of the doubt. They are not deserving of that. They are not. Stop rationalizing whatever your government is doing. Stop rationalizing and come up with some good intentions. They have no good intentions. Never. As I said before, in the entire history of mankind, there has never been a political elite concerned about the well-being of regular people. And it isn't any different now. Why should it? Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because I can tell you, you cannot comply your way out of a tyranny. It is impossible. Trying to do so, you will only feed a gigantic alligator in the hopes of being eaten last. But guess what? Your turn will come, and then you will be the one swallowed up. I also have to ask the people, end your silence. Speak up. For God's sake, stop complying. Start rebelling. They're out to get you if you do not resist.
In fact, a good portion of it is all human meat. All human. It's all human. The amount of people killed, sacrificed, ground up, and fed back to you is more than the cattle that's on the earth. Let's put it that way. Okay? We would steer clear of any type of ground meat unless you literally are getting it from a farm where they process their food right there and then. In which case, really it's usually a farm. They've got a little store there. They've got, their own package system, their own meat system. Short of that, we wouldn't recommend any type of ground meat to be consumed if you're concerned with whether you're participating in cannibalism or not. And the biggest issue, besides the obvious for most people, moral issue of eating another human being is the energy behind it. And also, your bodies are not designed to consume each other, so they cause it causes health problems as well, and things of that nature. And we know that you all have participated in it so far in your lives. Everybody's been eating this stuff. Everybody's been eating the fast food hamburgers. Everybody's been eating the ground up stuff and things like that. But we're just telling you that it's mostly human meat. It's mostly human meat. And a lot of it is other animals as well that you don't realize that they get rid of when they euthanize animals. And that's the hard truth. Most of the celebrities, the high-ranking celebrities, politicians, and things of that nature, they're on a purely cannibalistic diet. All of the meat that they eat are humans. And so they've got human meat processing plants. And they're not very hidden. They're pretty much, broadcast and out in the open. It's just that nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that while they're lined up in the line to get their fast food burgers through the drive-through. Okay? But that is a truth, and you all get to make a decision. You all are always able to make decisions as to what changes are you going to make. What changes are you going to make? Because on the moral aspect, okay, but there's the energy aspect. If we are all one, and you're literally eating yourselves, okay? On the energy aspect, there is no humane way to kill someone or something. There's no such thing. That's the stupidest thing anybody's ever exclaimed, ever, okay? Ever, okay? And so all of the fear and the stress that shoots through a body while it's being killed, because most of it isn't even painless in any way, shape, or form. There's trauma, massive trauma involved in it, that gets physically embodied, actualized and embodied, and then you're eating that fear. It's an extremely low conscious aspect, and that gets fully integrated into your body on a visceral level and your brain. And it literally prevents brain activity, and it instills Alzheimer's and dementia.
That's, what'd you think? A lot of truth, huh? Can you handle it? I don't know. Can you? Can you handle that? I know a lot of you are like, yeah, I believe this shit. This is, I've always felt this way. There's still some of you, though, who are just not quite there. Not quite sure. Like, I don't know, man. This is crazy. This couldn't be happening. It'd be all over the news or on the radio. Not if they're owned by the people causing all this shit. Yeah. Well, thank you again. Thank you, content creators. Keep up the great work, as always. And sign the Full Disclosure Act. I have already signed it and made a video of, because you make a video, it helps get the word out there. You can sign up at www.fulldisclosureact.com. And please help me douche out my beautiful state of Maine by signing my petition for the demand of full disclosure from secret governance in Maine, which is at change.org. You can also create your own petition there as well. If you're sick of the corruption and all the lies, all the bullshit, you can make your own petition. Get people to sign it, man, and take on these assholes head on, dude. Now's the time. And also, like, share, and subscribe. Get the video out. Please, help me, guys. Help me. Running out of time. But I love you. Stay safe. And watch your kids. Keep an eye on your children. We out.